What if I told you there was once a dictatorship that many people actually remember fondly? A regime where citizens enjoyed free housing, job security, international travel, and even a passport that could open doors in both East and West. Yet behind the scenes, secret police monitored conversations, dissidents vanished into prison camps, and propaganda turned one man into a living myth. This was life inside Yugoslavia under the rule of Josip Broz Tito, a man some still call the leader of the best dictatorship. Yugoslavia was a patchwork state stitched together after World War I. It brought under one roof Croats, Serbs, Slovenes, Bosniaks, Montenegrins, and Macedonians, peoples with centuries of conflict and division behind them. By the 1940s, the region was on the brink of collapse. And then came Josip Broz Tito. A former factory worker, soldier, and guerrilla leader, Tito rose to power during the Second World War. By 1945, he had not only expelled Nazi forces, but also positioned himself as the unchallenged ruler of the new socialist Yugoslavia. To his people, Tito wasn't just a politician. He was the marshal, a soldier statesman whose personal story mirrored the resilience of the nation itself. What made Tito's dictatorship different from others in the communist world was one bold decision. In 1948, he broke with Joseph Stalin and the Soviet Union, something almost unthinkable at the time. When the Kremlin tried to bring Yugoslavia under tighter control, Tito refused. According to legend, after surviving multiple assassination attempts, Tito sent Stalin a warning. "Stop sending men to kill me. If you don't, I'll send one to Moscow. And I won, need to send a second." This defiance gave Yugoslavia something unique: independence from Moscow and the chance to chart its own socialist path. But independence came at a price. Inside Yugoslavia, Tito ruled with an iron hand. Dissent was crushed. Surveillance was everywhere. Those suspected of loyalty to Stalin or of speaking against the regime were sent to prison camps like Goli Otok, notorious for their harsh conditions. At the same time, Tito's cult of personality grew. His birthplace was turned into a shrine. Movies dramatized his heroism, and every year on his birthday, the nation staged the Relay of Youth, where young people carried a symbolic baton across the country to present to him in Belgrade. These weren't just celebrations, they were rituals of loyalty, reinforcing Tito as both father figure and savior. So, what was life actually like for ordinary Yugoslav citizens? For many, it was surprisingly good compared to life in the Soviet bloc. Housing was guaranteed, tied to employment. Families moved into new apartments, often in towering concrete blocks, furnished with Yugoslav-made appliances. The state promoted a system called workers' self-management, where employees had a say in their factories' decisions. In theory, it was socialism with a human face. Perhaps the greatest perk was freedom of movement. Unlike their neighbors trapped behind the Iron Curtain, Yugoslav citizens could travel abroad, both to the capitalist West and the socialist East. A Yugoslav passport was a golden ticket, and many used it to work temporarily in Germany, Austria, or Switzerland, sending money back home. Education was free, healthcare universal, and consumer goods more available than in other socialist states. To many, Yugoslavia felt like the best of both worlds: socialist security with a taste of Western freedom. Tito wasn't just popular at home. On the world stage, he was a master diplomat. In 1961, Yugoslavia hosted the founding of the Non-Aligned Movement, a coalition of states that refused to fully side with either the US or the Soviet Union. This gave tiny Yugoslavia an outsized role in global politics. Tito became a respected figure across Africa, Asia, and Latin America, often seen as a champion of decolonization and independence. At home, this boosted national pride. Yugoslavia mattered on the world stage, and its leader was rubbing shoulders with Kennedy, Khrushchev, Nasser, Nehru, and even Queen Elizabeth. And yet, this so-called best dictatorship was full of contradictions. While people enjoyed freedoms unknown in the East, those who dared oppose Tito often disappeared. While the state preached unity, deep ethnic tensions simmered beneath the surface. And while Tito's image as one of the people was carefully cultivated, he lived like royalty, enjoying yachts, luxury villas, and extravagant hunting trips. Still, his charisma and balancing act kept Yugoslavia together for nearly 4 decades. The paradox of Tito's rule was simple. He was both a dictator and, in many ways, a liberator. Tito died in May 1980. His funeral was one of the largest state gatherings in history, attended by leaders from both East and West. For a brief moment, the world united in mourning. But without Tito, Yugoslavia's carefully balanced system began to unravel. Within a decade, nationalism and division tore the country apart, leading to one of the bloodiest conflicts in post-war Europe. Today, Tito's legacy remains contested. Some remember him as a strong leader who gave Yugoslavs dignity and stability. Others see him as a dictator whose cult of personality papered over cracks that eventually split the nation apart. Was this truly the best dictatorship, or just another authoritarian regime dressed in friendlier clothes?